In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 4 ugly things about riding with Amtrak and give you some of the ways that you can counter and deal with these uglies. So my list is not ranked in any particular order from bad to worse because one trip and ugly can be worse than on another trip. So the first ugly is cost. Amtrak can be costly at times, especially if you're riding in a sleeper car. Now, on the good side, there are coach seats that you can take, and most of the times your coach seats are low. So let's look at an example of booking a trip 1 month in advance and what the different rates are without using any kind of discounts on a sleeper car. As you can see, there's quite a bit of price difference between the roomette versus the bedroom versus the family bedroom. Now, this particular route, it's a one-way ticket from San Antonio, Texas to Chicago, Illinois. So with this ugly, how can you make the ugly not so ugly when it comes to the cost? First of all, try to book the train as far in advance as you can. Most of the time when I'm booking my trips, they're at least 3 months in advance. Another thing that I like to do is to look at pricing on different days. Sometimes traveling on a Thursday might be a little bit cheaper than leaving on a Tuesday or a Saturday. Not always, but always check, especially if you're flexible of when you leave. Look at the different prices. Another way that you can help with the cost of riding with Amtrak is to look at the Amtrak deals on their website. A lot of times they have some good deals. Many times they're seasonal deals. Check out the Amtrak website on the different passes that they offer and how they work. The last way I'm going to talk about on saving on cost is the Amtrak Guest Rewards program. This is a points program with Amtrak that allows you to earn points that you can use towards travel. I have a video about this program and I will link it in the description below. So the next ugly is smells. Unfortunately, sometimes you can encounter unpleasant smells when riding on Amtrak. And just like all of the uglies, not all of these uglies exist on every trip. But here's a couple of smells that you may encounter. One is the smells coming from the bathrooms, especially when the toilets are flushed. So every once in a while, some smells might come aboard the train from the toilets. It's not a pleasant smell. It's not an overwhelming sewer smell, but you got to remember that you have the waste being carried in tanks underneath the train. The other smells that you may encounter is just people, other people on the train. So here's what I mean when I'm talking about the smells of people. So when you're riding on Amtrak, whether you're riding in coach or you're sitting in the dining car or you're sitting in the sightseer lounge, you're surrounded by people that have different perfumes and colognes on, body lotions, and if you're sensitive to certain smells, then that might be overwhelming to you. And so the smell is not necessarily meaning it's the person stinks. It just means that what they're wearing may be ugly to you, because your senses don't like it. So what do you do about the smells? How do you counter them? So in my roomette, since I'm by myself, I will bring a non-plug-in air freshener, kind of like a bathroom Febreze. They're just like a little gel pack. And I just put that in the room. Now, if you're in an area and you're around people, smells are not pleasant for you, then you could always maybe put a scarf over your nose. You can also wear a nose plug and then just breathe out of your mouth. I know it's not ideal, but just depending on how sensitive you are, some of these things may help you. Just whenever the train stops, just be sure to get off the train and step off for a fresh air break, just to kind of help you give yourself a break from the different smells if sometimes they're overwhelming to you. I just wanted to jump in here real quick and just ask you, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the tips. Okay, so another ugly about Amtrak is that the trains can be dirty. This can be annoying when you get on a train and you're sitting down and passes this beautiful landscape outside, and you get out your phone to take a video or take a picture, and you realize once you look at that picture or video how dirty the window was. Or if you're getting ready to ride on the train and it pulls up into the station and you're excited about riding this nice, shiny, bright, clean train, and you pull up and it's like, that train looks like it hasn't been washed in 3 years. Sort of like my car. You also deal with dirty on the inside. You have to deal with the restrooms where multiple people are going to be using the same restroom. And although the car attendants are good about trying to keep them clean, but you might walk into a restroom and there might be just paper towels or, little pieces of toilet paper when people are trying to pull it off the roll, and a little piece might fall off from the roll onto the floor. They're not going to be picked up. If you're in coach, you're riding in coach, and especially like if you have gotten on after someone else just got off, then you may find some crumbs, some food crumbs on your seat. You may find some trash on the floor. Those car attendants don't have time to clean up a lot of times thoroughly before someone else is getting into that coach seat, or even if someone else is getting into the room. So what are some of the ways that you can kind of help with the ugly of dirty? One of the ways on the inside of the train is to do your part to throw your trash away in the trash can and not on the floor. If you're in the bathroom and you drop a piece of paper on the floor, bend down and pick it up. It's not that hard. Or be sure that you let the room attendant or the car attendant know, hey, the bathroom's dirty, so that he can go in there and straighten it up. Now, another thing that I do, whether I'm traveling in coach or a business seat, or if I have a private room, I do take some travel size disinfectant wipes, and I just wipe down the areas that I'm going to be touching. Now, the exterior of the train is a little bit different because you really don't have much control over that. And one of the things with researching about that is that Amtrak doesn't always have a lot of control over it either. One of the things the Environmental Protection Agency has changed and that has affected Amtrak with their wash rack stations is the collection of wastewater. Now, Amtrak could build new wash racks that would be EPA approved as far as how wastewater is collected, but that would be a very expensive build for them. And right now they're focusing on making sure the trains, the engines are in good running order. Now they do, every once in a while, you will be in a station and you will see someone out there squeegeeing the windows, especially on your long routes. Now, you can try to call Amtrak customer service to complain about how dirty the windows were. Sometimes if your window is dirty and you want to get a good video or a good picture, then you can always walk to the Sightseer Lounge to see if you can get a better picture, or just go anywhere on the train where you can look out a window that might not be as dirty and take a picture that way. All right, so the final ugly I'm going to talk about in this video is that of delays. And there are many times when you're going to be on Amtrak and there's going to be a delay. It can be a very short delay, like 15, 20 minutes. It can be a very long delay, maybe sometimes up to 12 hours. Now, the longer ones like that are very few and far between. Most of the time, you might encounter an hour or two delay on Amtrak. Not always. For instance, a trip I just took recently, I actually got into the destination an hour early. So on a recent trip where I took 3 different trains, one of the train rides had a 2-hour delay, and it was when I was on the Pacific Surfliner going from Los Angeles to San Diego and then back up to Los Angeles. Well, my plan was to go into San Diego, be able to walk around the pier and just kind of do maybe 30 minutes to an hour of sightseeing before getting back to the train station to catch the train back to LA. But unfortunately, the train was about 2 hours delayed. And so by the time that I got to San Diego, I didn't have time to walk down anywhere or do any sightseeing. I basically just had to stay at the station because my train back up was there within maybe 30 minutes, or ready to go within 30 minutes of me getting there. So I'm going to tell you how I deal with the possibility of a delay on Amtrak. The first thing I do is just to anticipate that there's going to be a delay, especially when I am trying to book another train or a flight. So I make sure that, so I give myself at least 4 hours difference. If I can't do that, then I will get a hotel room. Another thing, if a train is delayed for a significant amount of time, then be sure to contact Amtrak's customer service and let them know. Sometimes they will give you some type of compensation. I'm not telling you that they will, but especially if you had a long delay and it made you miss your connecting mode of transportation, they may help you, give you some kind of compensation. They may give you a coupon for your next train trip or something like that. But again, check with them. because they may not always do that. Although there can be the ugly side of riding on Amtrak, to me, those are, if you're prepared for them, they're insignificant compared to the beautiful side of riding on Amtrak. There's nothing better to me than just sitting back, kicking your feet up, looking out the window at different landscapes passing you by, and just being able to enjoy the rhythm of the rails. There's something very peaceful about riding the train as long as you're prepared for it. So whether this is going to be your first time riding a train, or if you're a seasoned veteran of riding a train, hopefully some of these tips that I gave you will help make your ride more pleasant. Thank you for watching. This is Soloing Alone.